they're really happy about saying they're sorry. Are they really sorry? No. You just made them say some words. But their actions are what's going to prove. If they can work together, if they can do something, they enjoy playing the game together, those actions speak louder than it doesn't really mean anything if the words don't have any backbone to it. It's actually a biblical reference. In James chapter 2, verse 18, it says, "But some of you well say, you have faith, and I have works. Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works." And he goes on and he finishes that chapter. He says, just as those bodies without the spirit of death, for just as the body without the spirit is dead, so also faith without works is dead. Think about it. Faith without works is dead. Because if there's not really anything that's going beyond, that's pushing our faith, that's challenging us, oh, do we really have faith? Are we really stepping forward and proving that we believe in God? If we don't demonstrate that we do? I mean, think about the widow and her mite that she gave. It's basically a penny, but it was everything that she had. And Jesus recognizes, he was sitting across from the offering plate as he made mention to his disciples. He told his disciples, said, listen, all these other people, they're giving from their excess. It means nothing to them. To them, it's like giving a penny from their wealth. To her, it was giving her life because she had nothing else. How about the Ananias and Sapphira? Boy, they had a lot of stuff. And they sold the property. They even had even more. And they gave the property, the sale of the property, to the church because the church was rebuilding. And they gave a portion of it. But their works were deceiving. Their works weren't true, and it cost them their life. How about the rich young ruler who had everything he ever wanted, everything that all of us strive for? We want to have a nice home, a comfortable bank account, not have to worry about payments for this, that, and the other, be able to go on vacation whenever we could, be able to do whatever we want without concern about whether we had the money to do it. Well, just think about how happy our families would be if we didn't have to look at the bank account before we planned our vacation. Wouldn't that be great? No. Because just as we see in the rich young ruler, it wasn't about the money. It was about putting God first, which he was not willing to do. So as we get into our story today, we're going to be looking at the primary teachings of how things are primarily taught in the Bible. So we're going to tell some Bible stories, okay? In the Old Testament, you have the lifelong, realistic events that happened to God's people. In the New Testament, Jesus told parables. He also had life experiences that happened. And then the apostles continued with teaching how to be better. So that's how things were being taught in the Bible. Those are the general principles of how things are taught. So in Daniel chapter 1, it starts. Daniel is taken captive. Israel's taken captive, in fact. In fact, not only are they taken captive, but God gives Israel to Babylon because of their sin. Oh, there we go. We're doing really good. If you're so bad that God has to give you into slavery, we must be pretty bad. Well, that's what was happening with Judah. Judah was being bad. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon went in, and God gave Jerusalem, Judah, the whole country of Judah, to slavery to Babylon. And they became slaves. And the king, he prized the value of people. He prized the value of knowledge. And so he selected several young men to go and be trained as servants. Oh, I'm going to be a servant. I'm going to get to go and I'm going to get to learn. That's a great thing. I'm a slave. Teach me. Wonderful. Great. The king said, not only are you going to get to learn, I'm going to teach you everything that our culture has to be. You're going to get indoctrinated into being a Chaldean. Okay? You're going to be the best of the best. Okay? And once you get done being the best of the best, I'm going to test you to see if you're worthy of being called the best of the best. Okay? Are you the best of the best? We don't know yet. We're going to teach you. Okay? Not only are we going to teach you how to be the best of the best, we're going to make sure you have everything that you need to do that. So we're going to put you under my lead teacher, my hand, the person who is second in charge to me, who's in charge of all my magicians and all my counselors. He's the one that trains them all and makes sure they have everything that they need to do the job that they need to counsel me. The king is saying this. This is not somebody who's a slave trader. This is the king saying this. Not only am I going to do that for you, but I'm going to give you my food off my table. I'm going to give you the same wine that I drank. So you're going to have the best food. Filet mignon, just a little bit of pinkiness. She can't stand it that way. Just a little bit of pinkiness. Melts in your mouth, you know. And that wine that when you drink it, it just, the euphoria that you feel. It's beautiful. Oh, it's so good. Bacon. Oh, you got to have bacon. The bacon just crisp. Get the bacon. And so, for the men who were chosen from Judah, like you know them, it's Daniel. Of course, we know who Daniel is. Hananiah, Azariah, Mishael. Okay? You know who they are? Okay, so we got Daniel, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael. First thing they do to them is they say, because we're going to be teaching you the Babylonian ways, to teach you to be a Chaldean, we want you to have Babylonian names. So Daniel, they gave the name Belshazzar. Okay, say it with me. Belshazzar. Say it one more time. Belshazzar. Okay. Hananiah, they gave Shadrach. Say it. Shadrach. Shadrach. Okay, so like a shad, that's a fish, and a rack, that's, you hang things on. So he's a hanging fish. Okay, that's all you got to do to remember here. Shadrach. He's a hanging fish. Okay. Meshach. Okay, that was real close. So it's easy for him to remember his new name. Okay. Meshach, Hananiah was Shadrach, Mishael, and then Abednego. Okay, he was always sleeping, so he's always Abednego. Okay, no, Abednego. Okay, so Abednego, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Belshazzar were their new names. Okay. Well, the king had a son. Okay, which most people don't realize. He had a son named Belshazzar. So Daniel's name was really special because he's named the same thing as the king's son. Okay, so because, and this is really discussed in the Bible, why don't they refer to him as Belshazzar the rest of the book? Because there's the Belshazzar, the king's son, who actually becomes the king later. So just side note, okay? So Daniel, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, they get fed the food, they're appointed the food, and Daniel takes a stand. I'm not going to eat that food. I don't want it. Have y'all ever had children that when you put the food, the spinach in front of them, and turnip greens, and cauliflower, and you put it in front of them, they look at, I don't like that. I don't want to eat that. No, not me. Feed the dog. And the dog doesn't want to eat it. Okay? That's pretty bad when the dog doesn't want to eat it too. Okay? I did that with my spinach when I was little. Okay? Don't tell my mom. Okay? But I did that with my spinach one day. The dog didn't want to eat it. So anyway, Daniel, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael set it upon themselves to say, hey, look, we don't want to eat this food. They stood up. And they did it politely. It's interesting that the Bible says that they did it politely and with respect. They went to the chief. They went to, I'm trying to remember his name, but he has a Babylonian name and I can't remember it. We'll just call him Ash because his first name starts with Ash. Okay, he went to Ash. He says, Ash, can we not eat this food? And he freaked out. He's like, what do you mean you don't want to eat this food? This food the king gave you. If you don't eat food, you're going to get sick and you're going to get weary, and then the king's going to come. He's going to kill me because you look sick. What do you mean he's going to kill you? He's going to kill me. He's not going to kill you. He's going to kill me because I haven't done my job. And you just say, okay, look, we'll do this. For 10 days, give us what we want to eat. And if we don't look good at the end of the 10 days, if we look sick at the end of the 10 days, if we don't feel good at the end of 10 days, if we're not learning as fast as the others at the end of the 10 days, then we'll eat what the king has given us. And as she looks, I said, okay, 10 days. And so he puts guards over them. And he gives them vegetables and water. Every child's drink, right? I mean, every child's drink. Just give me broccoli and cauliflower and spinach and turnip greens and water. And I'll be happy, right? Didn't y'all all want that when you were children? I mean, don't the girls want that? Isn't that what they just starve for? No, it's not. I just don't believe it. I have to teach the Bible lesson better. Goodness gracious. Anyway, we'll talk about why they chose this later. But the reason that they chose to have vegetables and water was an important reason. But it's not important necessarily to the story, other than they wanted to obey God. They wanted to obey God. And one of the things that they had been taught as young men and young women is to obey God. And one of the things they did was they ate properly. They consumed what God would have them consume. Some theologians believe that the meats and the wine were offered to sacrifices before and blessed to the sacrifices before they were given to the king's table. Therefore, consuming them would be consuming something that was given to a sacrifice. No. Could be. We don't know. It's not really specified as to why. Some people, it's the actual hooves. In other words, we're not supposed to eat split-hooved meat. But it didn't answer the question about the wine. Because only the Nazarites in the tribes of Judah were not supposed to drink wine. Okay? So there's a number of different reasons as to why. But bottom line is they believed they were serving God by only consuming the food that God would have them eat. 10 days are up. They were weak, not. They were healthy. They were strong. They had learned more than any of the others who were in training, both Babylonian and Judean slaves. They had learned more. They were the top. In fact, they had been so good about it that Ash decided that they could eat whatever they wanted to eat as long as they continued to survive that way. They had served God. They had honored God. They made a decision. I have decided to follow Jesus. And that's the decision that they made. They decided, no matter what, I'm going to honor God. And they did. Now here's the results of it. You can look it up in Daniel. It's in end of chapter 1. When they were taken before the king, Nebuchadnezzar, not only were they the best when they were tested by the king, it is said in the Bible that they were 10 times better in everything. 10 times better in everything. So when the servants were chosen out of those trainees to serve the king, guess which four got the top 4 seats? Daniel, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael. Isn't that great? I mean, that's great how God awards those who serve Him. He rewards us for serving Him. But isn't it a shame that we have to continually be rewarded? We have to continually seek to serve Him? No, it's not shame. It's a privilege. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. Because guess what? When you dig gold out of the ground, does it come out as gold? Yeah, it's gold. But what's with it? Dirt, trash, fungus, junk, impurities. How do you clean that? Heat it up, cook it out, scrape the top, let it cool. Okay? Is it clean gold now? No. But it's better. So what do you got to do next? You got to heat it up, cook it out, scrape the top off, let it cool. And the more you do that, the purer the gold. Now, ladies, let me ask you a question. What's more valuable, 18 karat or 24 karat?
24.
Who said it?
24.
24. Why is 24 better? More pure. It's more valuable because it's more pure. And much like gold, that's how we are to God. The more we are refined by Him, the more value we have to Him. The more God tests us, the more we are put into test, the more value we have as we gain successes. So let's look at the next success in chapter 3 of Daniel. Nebuchadnezzar, still king, decides he's going to build. Now he doesn't believe in God. He has gods. Okay? God of the shoelace, God of the pants, God of the wind, God of the sky, God of the sun, God of the moon, God of the water, God of the fire. He has gods, many gods. Okay? And because he has many gods, he doesn't recognize the one true God, Jehovah God. He doesn't recognize the God of Judah. He doesn't recognize the God of Daniel, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael. And in chapter 3, we learn that he decides he's going to build a statue to Baal, one of the gods. And the statue is going to be 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide. 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide. So he built it. He built it out of gold. Now, as much as I would like to have the gold of that, I don't. Because in order to partake of that, you had to worship it. So Nebuchadnezzar, once the statue's built, he goes and he's gonna show it off to the land, and the first people he's going to show it off to are all his leadership. Okay? So everybody who serves in a position here, stand up. If you serve anywhere in this church, I want you to stand up. If you're a musician, if you serve anywhere, if you're an usher, just stand up. I just want you, all you people have to come first, and you're going to be the ones that have to bow down to the idol first. You can sit down now, okay? All right? All his leaders, his counselors, his people who were in charge of other people. If you're in charge of the slaves, you're in charge of the sewers, if you're in charge of the wisdom that he's supposed to get, anything that you do, if you're in charge of something, you're supposed to come and help. Not only are you supposed to come and help, you have to obey the king. So the king's going to give you a directive. When the trumpets sound, when the harps sound, when the flutes sound, when my orchestra plays, get on your knees and worship this golden statue. That's what you're supposed to do. You ready to do it? Okay? So Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, who had been given appointments there, were in Babylon at the time when this was supposed to be done. And they stood up in the crowd when everybody else was standing up. And when the music played, they bowed down. Have any of y'all read the Bible? No, not. They did not. They stood up. But the king didn't see it. The tattletales did. The Chaldeans who were in the training, who were always under Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were always second to them, who were never honored by the king because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were 10 times better than them. 10 times better. They went to the king and they said, hey, Shadrach, Meshach, you made this rule. You built this statue. You said everybody has to bow down. Right? Okay. And you said if they didn't bow down, you were going to kill them, right? Were there any exceptions you gave to that? No? Okay. Nobody was supposed to be accepted from that, right? You know what? There were some people who disobeyed you. Goodness gracious. And the king, he got mad. He got angry. Okay? And he was mad. He was mad. It's kind of like when your children disobey you, and then they disobey you again, and then they disobey you again. You're mad. You're upset. You're not happy with them. Well, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were brought before the king, and the king said, hey guys, maybe you just didn't understand. I'm going to give you another chance. And he's mad. It's kind of like when you're talking to your children. Listen, I told you to do this, and you're mad. Your heart is mad. But your face is kind to them because you want them to obey you. You don't want to show your anger to them because you want to still show that you love them and appreciate them and everything. And so you're kind of nice to them. You say, do this now. And so the instruments play, and the king had said, as soon as the instruments play again, bow down to the idol. And they didn't even wait for the instruments to play. They said, King, you are the king of Babylon, but you are not God. And we worship the one true God only, and will only bow down to him. Now, it says in the Bible that Nebuchadnezzar's face changed. Okay? He was no longer happy with them. He was wrath. Okay? And his face became the face of wrath, anger, destruction. I'm going to kill you. Ow! He just didn't. He had no patience for him anymore. He's going to destroy them because they were embarrassing him. In their calm, collected, and thoughtful presence to him, having given him years of advice, they were disobeying his order to worship a piece of gold. And he was angry. He was mad. It just enraged him. So he said to his guards, he says, you know what, I'm so angry, I want you to go in, I want you to take, and I want you to make that furnace 7 times hotter than it is right now. 7 times hotter than it is right now. And it was already hot enough to consume a man. 7 times hotter. Then I want you to take these 3 idiots and I want you to tie them up, bind them together, hand, feet. I don't even want you to worry about taking their clothes off of them. We'll burn them head to toe as they are right now. We're not going to give them any time to pray. Not worried about their God. And if their God is so good, he can save them. So the guards took them, bound them up, grabbed them, threw them over their shoulders, and went to take them to this furnace. And on the way to the furnace, the guards who were supposed to throw them in got to the edge, and they died. The furnace was so hot. The guards who were supposed to throw them in, they couldn't walk. They were supposed to throw them in, had to get them close to them. They died. It was so hot. And Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they didn't stop there on the edge. They went ahead and went on in. The bonds that were holding them burned off. Their hats, their shirts, their clothes, and their shoes did nothing. The king, he's looking in the opening, and he stands up, and he's like, what? Am I seeing an extra person? The extra person looks like an angel. And they were in there for a while because he's freaking out. He's like, what's going on? He can't understand. Why aren't they burning? They're walking around. There's 4 of them now, not 3. There's 4 of them. Why aren't they burning? And he calls them. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, come out. And they came out. And they walked out, all 3 of them. Not smoking. Not hot to the touch. Their clothes were not burned or even singed. The only thing that had disappeared from their presence when they went in were the bonds. And they were able to walk out on their own. And they walk out and they stand before the king, and the king recognizes Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, God. And he said, the God who you believe in should never be mocked. And he makes a rule, he makes a decree. And he says, this is the decree that I make, that no one is to utter anything wrong. You're not to insult their God. Key words, you are not to insult their God. Is it his God? No, it's not. It's not his God. He recognizes God's power, but it's not his God. They lived a life. They made a decision. They said, I'm not going to worship nobody but God. What's the first commandment? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. They honored that with their life. No matter what, no other gods before him. The king recognized God. Now, the first victory, 10 times better, no recognition of God. The second victory, recognition of who God was, but it wasn't his God. 3 chapters later, in chapter 6, we see where Nebuchadnezzar has fallen, and his son Belshazzar is now in charge of the land. And there's a prophecy given, and the prophecy is saying that Belshazzar is going to die. And sure enough, that night, Belshazzar died. And Darius, at the age of 62, is awarded the kingdom. And he now becomes the head of the land. And he appoints advisors. 120 satraps that are going to be advisors. And there's 3 counselors that he appoints. One of which was Daniel. Now Daniel had separated himself. He had become his head advisor. No matter what. Remember, he's 10 times better. Already proven. Tested. And proven. 10 times better. So he's serving Darius. And he's serving Darius as though he's serving God. Not Darius as God. But he's serving God. And he's serving Darius. He's serving Darius as though he's serving God. Because everything you do in word or deed, do all to the glory of God. Everything that Daniel did, he did to bring honor to God. And Darius started listening to Daniel. Darius started learning from Daniel. 62 years old. He's learning from Daniel. And now the country is under the rule of the Medes and the Persians. So Darius could write a rule, and if it wasn't signed under this particular law, then it could be changed. But if you signed it under the law of the Medes and the Persians, you couldn't change it no matter what. So Daniel now set it up here. He is the right hand of Darius. It didn't matter what the other 120 said. It didn't matter what the other 2 counselors said. The other 2 advisors. It didn't really matter. Daniel was number 1. And when you're number 1, everybody wants to knock you off. And in this particular instance, in this Bible, in this chapter, chapter 6, they wanted to physically knock him off. Okay? So they started looking. Okay? I'm going to go and I'm going to look through your life. Is there anything wrong in his life? Can't find anything wrong. He's following the law. We can't do anything to him. He's always obeying the law. The only thing that he does is he goes and he prays 3 times a day. And it clicked in their head. He prays 3 times a day. But that God is not a recognized God of the Medes and the Persians. So they go to Darius, the other 2 counselors, and they say, all your counselors have gotten together, all your satraps have agreed that for the next 30 days, we all agree that nobody should worship or bow down or pray to anybody but you. Darius, you're so good. You're so kind. You're so thoughtful. You're so knowledgeable. You are the best. Nobody should worship anybody except for you. And we all agree to it. Isn't it amazing how when you're doing something right, somebody has to lie to make you look bad? Well, Daniel didn't really worry about it. He saw that the law was written, and Darius had signed the law, and they convinced him to sign it with the laws of the Medes and the Persians. So he signed it with the laws of the Medes and the Persians, signed it, stamped it, boom, it's done. And for 30 days, nobody was supposed to pray to anybody but Darius. So guess what? Daniel, he decided he's going to go to his room, and instead of praying to God as he faced Jerusalem, he's going to pray to Darius, right? Wrong. 3 times a day, he prayed to God. He didn't stop. He didn't change his times. He didn't do it in secret. 3 times a day, he went where he had always gone, and he prayed to God. Sure enough, those 2 advisors went, confronted him, and took him before Darius. He said, Darius, you made this rule. It says nobody's. And remember, you signed it with the law, the Medes and the Persians. You can't change it, right? Right? You can't change it. Isn't that correct? Not going to be able to change it. Right? No changing. Period. Can't happen. He made the rule. Can't change it. Don't do it. Not supposed to change it. Guess what? Daniel broke the rule. Uh-oh. Daniel's his favorite. It would be like killing his own son. Daniel was his best friend. Daniel was his best advisor. Daniel was 10 times better than all these people put together. Think about it. Darius had been tricked, and he knew it. And there was nothing he could do about it because the trick was completed by the Medes and the Persians. He tried to find every rule. He tried to find every exception. Tried to. And he couldn't. So at that evening, he had to order that Daniel be taken. And Daniel was taken, and he was taken to the lion's den. And the lions were starving, hungry, rapturous. They were so hungry because they were not fed. And Daniel walked into the lion's den. They had to put a stone over it, and Darius had to seal that stone with his signet ring. Now the Bible says that Darius went back to his room, and he could not sleep. He was so distraught. He was angry that this had happened. He was upset that this has happened. He was mad that he had gotten tricked. And sure enough, the next morning, as he goes and he runs in daylight, he's there when the sun rises. He has the guards take the stone away, and he calls into the lion's den. And he says, Daniel, are you alive? Did your God save you? And Daniel called out, yes, God saved me. Daniel walks out. And as he walks out, he is praised by Darius. God is praised by Darius. And he says, Darius, my God has saved me. Give me just a second. I want to read you what Darius did. The decree that he made. And as Daniel made that decree, as Darius made that, chapter 6, there we go. And in Daniel chapter 6, down at the bottom, Darius the king wrote to all the peoples of the nation of every language who were living in the land, may your peace abound, and may I make a decree that in all dominion of my kingdom men are to fear and tremble before the God of Daniel. From not recognizing who God was, to recognizing who God is, but not accepting him, to Darius recognizing, trusting, because when he had to put Daniel in the den, he prayed that God, the God of Daniel, would protect him. And the God of Daniel became Darius' God. As we live our lives, we can correlate this story. As you look at the New Testament, you can correlate this story to another testament. Have you ever thought about the first test of Jesus in the wilderness before Satan? Jesus, if you just turn this stone to food. Jesus replied, thou shalt not live by bread alone. The test was to eat for the wrong reason. Jesus passed the test. The second test was to avoid danger, to trust the angels to save him from being injured, as he was to cast himself off the temple. And Jesus' third test was to bow down and worship Satan. And Satan would give him all the whole world. This whole thing would be over if you just bow down and worship Satan. And Jesus said, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God. Life's test, friends. The friends, no other gods. To Daniel, no other gods, worship God alone. What do we do? Let me ask you a question today. Okay? What sins do we commit to conform, to get along, or to enjoy the pleasures? Are we willing to commit the sins to do those things? It's so easy. It's simple. It's small. It's only food. It's only a little lie. It's simple to just, I'll ask forgiveness later. What are we willing to do to not stand up as God's children in our daily environment? To not give God the glory in every situation. What are we willing to do? Do we stand out for God? Or do we blend in? When everybody else is watching that video clip at the office, are we standing out and saying no? I don't need to view that. Are we blending in? What do we do? How do we distinguish ourselves? Is the world looking at us? Is the people in charge, is our bosses looking at us and saying, his God's important to him? Do we shine for God? Do we stand out? When people look at us, do they see God beside us? Does they see God encompassing our lives? Or do they see us as the rest of the world? Just like anybody else? Are we invisible? Or do we stand out to our peers who want to cause us harm? Do we distinguish ourselves as better because everything that we do to worship God? And if we do everything we do to worship God, that means it's so much better. Think about it when Jesus was walking. When Jesus was walking through the land, he basically would say, if a soldier comes up to you and he tells you to carry his bag for a mile, carry it too. Don't do it to please other people. Do it to please God. Go the extra mile. Instead of a report being 15 pages in school, make it 20. Make it 30. Make it detailed. Instead of they require using 5 references, use 10. Go that extra mile. Distinguish yourself by making God recognized. And as you distinguish yourself and as you give testimony that you are a Christian and everything that you do is to a higher standard because you're trying to please God. Not worried about pleasing them. You're trying to please God. And as you please God, they can't be anything but ecstatic about the work that's being done. God receives the glory. It has nothing to do with us. It's God receiving the glory. And then lastly, are we willing to give our lives? What do we put in place of our worship to God? Now you here, wonderful people. You're here at church on Sunday morning. It's the last weekend before school starts. You're not taking that last vacation, whatever it is. You're in church to worship, and there's nothing wrong with vacations. Nothing wrong with them. But are we taking a vacation from God? There's nothing wrong with going on a trip. But 1 week is one thing. A month is another. What do we put before or in place of our worship to God? The one true God. Because whatever you put in that place is your God. Because that's what you're putting first here. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things is going to happen. My favorite verse when I was an intern, and I want to end with this. My favorite verse when I was an intern at Goffwood Baptist Church in Mobile, Alabama. Our pastor made us memorize verses, and we would come to staff meeting, and we had to share that verse of Scripture. And he would just pick on somebody. So if you hadn't memorized a verse of Scripture that week, and you get picked on, you're going to get picked on again the next day. So we went to staff meeting, and my favorite verse was the first one I ever learned, and it happens to be in my favorite book of the Bible, which is James. Okay, so you understand. All right. I'm also named after the brother of Christ. But, notwithstanding, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith worketh patience and endurance. And let that endurance have its perfect work in you, that you may be whole and complete, lacking in nothing. So in our day-to-day lives, as we're challenged to find an excuse not to go to church, or find an excuse not to give our best to God, find an excuse to put something above God, find an excuse to just do the little sin. See your answer in Jesus. As you work through the difficulties, as you work through the hardships, find your answer in Jesus. Don't look for the excuses. Don't look for the easy way out. Look for the answer. Because as you find the answer, and you count it joy that Jesus gave His life for you, that we have eternal salvation through Him. Count it all joy. Because He's going to refine us. He's going to make us valuable. He's going to take us from that ore, and He's going to make us into pure gold for Him. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, God, we thank You for today. We thank You for the opportunity that we can come and we can worship You, that we can come and we can serve You, that we can come and praise You freely, Lord. We know many places in the world where there's people who would have to give their lives, and people who do give their lives just so they can have that opportunity, because it's not a freedom there. May we never take for granted You, Jesus, and the salvation that You offer us through Your Son, Jesus. May we never take advantage of the opportunity that we have to come and worship You. And our worship is not good enough. Our praise is not good enough. But if we give everything we have with our whole heart, we trust that You will continue to accept, receive our praise, and continue to make us better. May we be found worthy in Your sight.